Hi guys, and welcome to another 7-minute lecture. We're looking at space warfare today. Not the type you see in science fiction, but the type you're likely to see in the real world as the 21st century marches on. The idea of militarizing space has been around for several decades and has really picked up steam in the Cold War and the post-Cold War eras. The famous space race between the Americans and the Soviets was not just a public relations exercise, although that was a part of it too. It wasn't just a race to see who could get to the moon first, although that was a part of it too. It was the two major superpowers at the time, both understanding the importance of outer space as the next major domain of armed competition. The Russians managed to put the first artificial satellite in space with the Sputnik being launched in 1957, but the Americans were able to put the first man on the moon with Neil Armstrong in 1969. The idea of space warfare has been around a lot, clearly, right? So, Star Wars, Star Trek, the works of Arthur C. Clarke and Isaac Asimov, among many others. Today, there are video games, animation franchises, television shows, novel series, all kinds of things on space warfare. It's really captured the public imagination in modern times. But it's only been in the 20th and 21st centuries that we've started having real conversations about policy and rules and terms, because the closer we get to this reality, the more vital it becomes for us to get it sorted. So, where are we at the moment? The main issue right now is the building militarization of outer space. As in, we have a number of countries now placing weapons in outer space, military assets outside of the Earth's atmosphere, which can essentially attack anything from anywhere, especially the satellites of other nations. Way back in 1966, the United Nations managed to get countries together to sign what they call the Outer Space Treaty, which banned placing nuclear weapons and other weapons of mass destruction in space. But this treaty didn't really prevent anybody from placing general weapons, only weapons that have a specific scope in terms of their destruction. So anti-satellite missiles can still be placed and are still being placed in space by countries like China, Russia, and the United States. China conducted its first successful anti-satellite missile strike in 2007 when they shot down one of their own defunct satellites. In 2013 and subsequently 2018, China once again tested missiles outside the Earth's atmosphere that can serve as anti-satellite weapons. Russia has been even more active. They conducted tests in 2015, 16, and 18, and more importantly, even last year, when the entire world was gripped in this pandemic, Russia still continued to test this technology. They did one in April of last year and more recently in December 2020. The United States has been relatively quiet on this front by comparison, which is surprising given the active role it usually plays in such things. The Americans conducted a test in 2006 and then in 2008, after which they've been relatively subdued. A surprising addition to this list is a country that not many would have expected, India. In 2019, so only 2 years ago, India conducted what was called Operation Shakti, where a locally, indigenously designed and built anti-satellite missile was successfully tested out. So while many might have expected the UK or France or maybe even Israel to be the fourth member of this club, India turned out to be the fourth horseman, so to speak. So that's where we are now in terms of the countries. What exactly are the complications involved? The first, obviously, is that any such attack on space would be devastating for the environment because the debris caused by an explosion can come raining down into the atmosphere. And even if it doesn't, it could just cluster around the atmosphere itself as space pollution, atmospheric pollution. This is, by the way, becoming a major issue, right? Our entire atmosphere is covered with garbage, dead satellites, defunct bodies that we shot into the atmosphere a long time ago, which no longer really serve a purpose. If you were to board a spaceship and fly out of the earth to, let's say, the moon, you would literally have to fly through a layer of space garbage right now. That's how bad it's getting. The major effect, though, of anti-satellite weapons and space warfare in this form is the complete destabilization of any country that would be hit. We all depend on satellite technology today, right? Everything from television to communication to our bank accounts, they're all dependent on some form of satellite technology, which is why so many countries, in fact, essentially all countries in the world, have many satellites orbiting in space. If you take them out, you could reduce a country to total digital darkness. Imagine every bit of technology at your disposal that you just take for granted, your phone, the internet, all just getting wiped out instantly. That's what could happen. And when you consider just how important lines of communication are for supplies, healthcare, emergency response, and such, it may even be possible that in some countries, a space attack on its satellites might be even worse than a nuclear strike, because it could just plunge that country into complete unrepairable chaos. And finally, this technology could also be used to determine the military hierarchy of the future. Much like how nuclear technology determined the military pecking order of the 20th century, with there being a very, very clear difference between how the nuclear powers are treated and how the rest of us are treated, it's very possible that the 21st century's hierarchy from the 50s onwards will be determined by space warfare. All it takes is a Hiroshima moment to demonstrate to the world just how powerful anti-satellite weapons are. And once that happens, once some big tragedy strikes, the countries with this technology will automatically become the top dogs, if you will, in global geopolitics. So that's it, guys. I hope you found that interesting. If you like content like this, please don't forget to share and subscribe. Thank you, take care, and I'll see you soon.